Alright, and it's the last man on Earth. Oh boy. So, I was alluding to this in the past level. I think this might be the hardest level in the game. I don't know about the series, but the game, yes. I think this is objectively the hardest level. It has the most difficult enemy composition, and it has the most, well, we'll get to it. I think the ending of it is pretty damn challenging. So, it's made difficult because of witch brides, which is, you know, safe to say about pretty much any level in this game that has them, which is thankfully not very many. But, oh man. I think it's a good level. I seriously can't fault it. I think it's just very fun, and it's very pure. It's almost a very classic Serious Sam level as well. Like, it feels like a Serious Sam level. I mean, it is a Serious Sam level, but still. I definitely feel like it heightens the idea that you're coming really close to the end of the game. And I think that's why I like it a lot. It feels like there's proper tension, right? So, as I said in the last video, towards the end, I am going to be doing the next level in silence. You know, just classic, you know, no commentary. Oh, hell no. Classic no commentary style, because I think it's just more entertaining. And, hopefully you guys don't get too angry about it. But I think you should be able to get the gist pretty easily, right? Like, normally this is not how I do this room. I'm tempted to reload my save, but we're just gonna roll with it. So, it's not because it's very difficult to talk over, I just really want to, you know, do a very cinematic style way of ending the game. So, I think that's fitting. I quite like it a lot. I actually don't mind this level either. I think it's got some pretty ugly parts, but it's not as bad as it could have been. I think if there's anything I don't like about this level, it's just that there's witch brides in it, but, you know, that's to be expected, right? So, I think every single person and their mother can agree witch brides in this game were one of the worst damn things in the entire thing. Also, this is a nice little secret you can do. So, this one's pretty easy. This is probably a nod to the, you know, first game where you have to run away from the boulder, I'm guessing. Don't know, but if it is, cool. So, now this is a little bit of a time challenge. It's not super hard. There's going to be a couple of enemies. I'm just probably going to ignore them for the most part, because it's really not worth my time. I'm going to save here, because if I fuck this up, I'm going to be angry. I mean, the platforming is way, way better than it is in Serious Sam First Encounter, but it's still not very perfect. That's all there is to it. So, oh boy. Also, the next level's 40 minutes long, and I'm being generous there. 40 minutes is pretty long. Oh, I love how Sam says the bitch word. Makes me happy. So, anyways, a lot of weird things happen here. I'm not sure if this is in Fusion. It might be a Fusion exclusive bug, but I noticed the lighting in this area just kind of fucks up. I think it's something to do with the Nitrixa interface showing up. I don't honestly know. So, if you know, that might be why. I'm probably right. What am I saying? When am I not right? So, yeah, this level is incredibly difficult for a couple of reasons. We have a kind of mixture between arena, regular cover, and the slalom style all together, which isn't really something that ever happens in Serious Sam. I can't think of very many instances where this is actually the norm in the gameplay. I'm gonna assume there's a couple parts in Serious Sam 4 from memory that are actually like that, but I can't think of very many. One of the main gripes I have with this level is the fact that a lot of the enemies can get stuck on geometry, which yeah, that's a bitch when it happens, so probably didn't need to waste a Devastator on him. I should have probably saved that for a Witch Bride. But it's not the worst level, it's not the best. I do like the ending. I'm not sure if this... Yeah, this came out after Left 4 Dead 2, I'm 100% certain. It reminds me of the Scavenge minigame from that game as well. That might have been the intention, I could be wrong, but it would be pretty cool if it was. I always thought Scavenge was a pretty neat game mechanic, but when I used to play Left 4 Dead Online, very few people actually played it. I think most people played Versus back in the day. I don't blame them, I mean, Versus is more fun than Scavenge, but Scavenge was at least, you know, at the time, it was new, so I kind of was hoping it would have a lot more, you know, the healthy player base, but that didn't really happen. So here we can see what makes this level difficult in perfect view. We have a Witch Bride, and now we have a Scrapjack, we have the mini dudes, we have Clear running at us. So this is just like sensory overload, right? You gotta know exactly what you're doing. Let's see if I can... I really don't want to waste too many rockets, but I also want to kill that Scrapjack. He's really gonna be a pain in the ass. Okay. I'm mainly trying to keep my armor up, because I want to keep as much of that as I can. I know that's pretty obvious, right? But trust me, I'd rather keep my armor as long as I can in any old school FPS game, or game that has it. I actually think, if you haven't seen Dacino's wonderful videos on how armor works in Doom, I recommend looking it up. After watching his video on that, I learned that, no, I'm pretty sure most people might know this now, but blue armor, or security armor, that actually gives you a 40% damage resistance over the 20% from the green armor. So, map designers, there you go. It's not just 200 points, it's also a little damage decrease as well. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, Serious Sam doesn't have anything like that. I've seen people complain about the fact that Serious Sam 4 doesn't have very many overheal items, and I think that's attributed to the fact that you have the portable inventory, like the life unit and everything. I kind of like that. I mean, admittedly, the only one I ever used was the life one. I think I used Rage Serum, maybe... Well, the first time I played the game, I didn't use it at all, because obviously I'm trying to figure it out, like, in terms of how to play the game. So I just wanted to see where it would be the most applicable to use it after I played it. I think using it on Akramon was kind of a waste. I'm not sure if that really helped. I know it definitely does a number on the crab boss. It fucking dies in like 2 seconds. So that's a for sure thing. But the other items I really never cared for that much. I think I used a nuke one time and it was on accident and then for the achievement, so I really didn't find much use of it because I don't know, it felt like I should have been moving around and not worrying about the animation, and I don't know, I just didn't like it very much. I mean, it looked cool. Let's not even mince words here. That's pretty fucking cool. What is wrong with this water? That is some very low-res water. I don't think I have that low, but okay. I'm not gonna complain, but that looks ugly. So, yeah, I definitely, you know, it's the problem with, like, Quake 2 as well. In Quake 2, you have this entire inventory of items, and you have so many of them, but let's face it, which one do you want to use? You want to use quad damage and invincibility. And what did you use them on? You use them on the boss monsters, man. That's all you ever use it on. And that's my biggest problem with the inventory system in that game. It's not like in Doom Eternal. I think Doom Eternal did it really well. And I know I waxed that game's dick like it's nobody's business, but it's because it's really good, and it's incredibly well designed. The fact that all of your abilities are on timers, and as much as I hate MOBAs, you know, it's cool that they actually are on timers because it makes it so you have an infinite amount of resources, but you can use them properly and on timers, and you have to know when to use them and when not to. It was kind of like that in Doom 4, but not nearly as effective, I guess. Like in Doom 4, you just had the grenade, if I'm not mistaken, so you didn't really have this, you know, big varied amount of equipment. You just basically had that. So all I can say is I really appreciated how they did the inventory in that game. And, you know, you had quite a bit of shit to work with. You had the meat hook timer, you had the flame belch, you had the ice grenade if you had it, or the frag grenade, whichever you wanted to use. And then you basically, I mean, you're managing all of your resources at once based on situational need. That is how you do an inventory properly. What I didn't like about Serious Sam 4 was that was what they did. They let you just basically stockpile everything until you absolutely had to use it. And I mean, the worst part is when you lose all your equipment in that game, you lose all your equipment. So I had, like, I think the max, oh, I should not have picked that up. The max item storage in that game, I think, was 20. It was either 20 or 15, I can't remember, honestly. And it was like, oh man, I felt like such an asshole that I hadn't used any of my equipment by the end of the game. It felt just so awkward. I hated it. Like, all the fucking toys the game had given you to play with, and I'd wasted them all, right? And I was like, oh, damn it. Like, all that shit would have been so much more useful on, like, the, you know, final level, but you don't get it, and it's all gone, and it sucks. I really wish at times that the game ended, like, I wish you lost all your equipment and then you rebuilt it at halfway point, like when you went to the France area. I have a lot of shit to say about that game, in case you haven't noticed. It's not a terrible game, it's just not as good as it could have been. But I liked it, I enjoyed it. I don't think it's objectively a bad game. I just think it has a lot of design flaws. I mean, this game also has design flaws as well. Oh, Jesus, this is awful. Like, there's not really a perfect game, honestly. I mean, as much as I jokingly will say Doom is perfect, it does have flaws. But then again, you have people that are like, oh, Rise of the Triad was better than Doom, and I'm like, no. I'm sorry. Rise of the Triad has more weird, varied gameplay, but the gameplay itself is awful. I can't play that game for more than, like, an hour. And if I do, it gives me a fucking headache. Actually, amazingly, Blood, of all games, is one that actually gives me a headache to play. I think it's something to do with the color palette. I don't know. It always strikes me as just, I don't want to look at it for a while. It's just so brown and weird, and I don't know. Not a fan of the color palette. I like the game a lot, but I mean, when you're running that in DOS at like 800 by 600 resolution on a 1920 monitor, it really strains your eyes, and it does not look good. I mean, obviously I do want to do a playthrough of Blood Fresh Supply, because I really kind of have a lot to say about Blood. I don't think it's the best game ever, but I will say this, it has one of the, like, coolest, like, weapon varieties in the time it came out. It also has a very awesome soundtrack. It has, you know, interesting character designs, enemy designs, gameplay loops. However, I think Blood is very flawed. I think it's a great shooter, don't get me wrong, but it's not as good as Duke 3D. It's not as good as... Well, I think Duke 3D is a great game. It's on par with Doom, okay? That's the best way I could put it. Like, Duke 3D is, like, equal to Doom. I don't think there's any competition with that. Number one, it's got boobs in it, so of course it's an immediately wonderful game. But in my opinion, it's just the amount of detail in that game, the gameplay loops, the item placements, well, up until like the last like expansion levels and stuff, obviously. But you know, for the base game itself, I'd say Duke 3D excels. It's fucking amazing. It's one of the best games ever created. I would argue it's better than Blood. Now, I'm not saying Blood's a bad game, but in terms of item placement, oh boy, Blood really struggles in the early levels. That first episode is fucking relentless. That is one of the hardest fucking intros to a game you'll ever play. And it sucks because the game never ever gets that hard again. And it's just a very sporadic difficulty spike. And that's the problem, is once you play the base game and then you go back to the expansion packs, and yeah, I played them all recently, but not the expansion packs. I have played them numerous times though. Like, everyone goes, yeah, aqueducts, no shit, that's a terribly flawed level. It's so fucking frustrating, but it's not the worst. I think it's bad. It's bad for different reasons than what you think, though. But yeah, you play through Blood, you get to the expansion packs and go, holy shit, because the game, it wears a seatbelt after the very first fucking, like, chapters, right? It actually lets the fuck off the gas. Like, the first chapter, you don't even have, like, first of all, you don't have half the fucking weaponry in the game at this point. You have shotgun, pitchfork, which you're going to be using a hell of a lot if you don't get a hang of the mechanics early on. Dynamite. I don't even think you get proxy dynamite or detonator dynamite. Yeah, so you just get dynamite, a little bit of the use of the Tommy gun, because let's face it, it's a pretty, like, rare ammo type in that first couple of chapters. And I'm not talking, like, if you get secrets either. I'm talking for just a normal, regular-ass playthrough, right? And one of the other problems is you don't get the... Actually, no, you do get the, what's it called? The napalm gun, but you don't get hardly any ammo for it, which, yeah, that kind of takes the piss out of it, right? So, number one, you're also missing the Tesla cannon, which absolutely fucking destroys gargoyles, so you're already kind of at a, you know, loss there. You also don't get the life leech, the voodoo doll, and what else do you not get to use? You don't get to use proxy dynamite, you don't get to use detonator dynamite, you don't get to use, the voodoo doll in particular I'd say is a take or leave thing. I mean, it does... oh, hell. See, these don't do very much damage, they're just incredibly annoying. The voodoo doll doesn't do a whole lot of damage on enemies alone. It's actually really good in multiplayer, so I've been told, but that's like 30 years ago, so that's probably hearsay, but you know, you gotta just take their word for it. When it comes down to it, the first chapter of Blood is absolutely fucking nightmarishly difficult. It is, without a doubt... Yeah, what Sam said. It is without a doubt one of, if not the hardest intros to an FPS game. So, alright, here's the gas section. This is where the level really starts to kick your ass. So, let's hope I can... That's hopefully a scrapjack I'm shooting at. I'm pretty sure it is. So, the rules to this level, last challenge here... essentially, I've got to get 8 gas canisters to the car, and then fill the car up. Like I said, it's like Scavenge, and I can only carry 1 canister at a time. So, there's more than 8 canisters, by the way, so you are pretty forgiven if you fuck up a few times. So, the problem is, if I just keep bolting and getting the canisters, and spawning in enemies, I'm going to create way too many enemies that I don't have enough ammo or time to kill. Oh, that was dumb. So, I'm just picking up what I know I'm gonna find and need on the way there. So this is one of your final tests, really. So let's go ahead and pick one up. Now, we're gonna start getting everything in the game. So kamikaze units are gonna start spawning in, and I don't think it's infinite, there's just a shitload of enemies. And all these like resources are limited, so don't just go picking up armor and health willy-nilly. Pick it up when you actually need it. And just kind of be really aware of every corner. Bigger enemies are going to start spawning in from the like edges of the map, and they're going to work their way slowly into here. So this is going to be pretty tough, but I'm built Ford tough, right? I hate trucks. I hate Ford. I'm a Chevy man. I'm not even a car person. What am I saying? I have no business talking about vehicles. I can barely even put windshield wipers on my car, okay? I know how to change a cabin filter, check the oil, change a tire, and that's about it. So, you know, that's like when you go to a fucking mechanic or like a car dealership, and like, oh, your car needs this, 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 this. You just kind of like take it at face value as they're saying the right thing. That's like going to a doctor, but for your car. So, anyways, the scrapjacks are going to be obviously one of the first priorities. They take a shitload of health to kill, obviously, so you want to get rid of them first. And then obviously kamikazes, because they're eventually going to, you know, keep up with you. So, alright. Now, I know I can probably speedrun this, but I'm not that good. I mean, I'm good, but I'm not that good. So, I'm trying to, like, I want to go from the back to the front, because that, to me, is the most efficient way of doing something. Because then you're saving time on the way back. See, this is why I play RuneScape. So, 100% why. I use the word efficient, that's how you know I'm serious. So, like I said, there's more than 8 canisters. This is more than doable. See, I don't know why people always say, oh, the hit scares are the worst. They don't do very much damage. They really can just be chipped out at a distance. Okay. Just trying to mitigate picking up the bigger, you know, items, so... Alright. Like I said, this is not very difficult, but it can be difficult. It can start to become really shitty if you start leaving... you know, the bigger mobs all over the place. I'm gonna probably start needing to switch over to the Devastator in a few seconds, too. Alright, so I know there's a canister over here as well. Like I said, I want to go from the back to the front, because I'm not gonna kill every single enemy out here. That is absolutely insane. It also starts spawning in witch brides as well. So, yeah. Yeah, this part doesn't fuck around. The first time I ever did this, I thought it was the coolest part of the game. I still think it's actually a pretty cool part. It's varied, I can say that much. I like how I was like, oh, I'm not gonna kill every enemy, but whatever. And then I just immediately start ignoring everything. Literally everything gets ignored. I might have to kill that Technopolyp, because he could become a pain in the ass if I'm not careful. The tankier mobs, yes, those are what you really are going to be worried about. You shouldn't have too much trouble as long as you're on top of things, is all I can say. Just get rid of the threats you know are actual threats. I mean, this scrapjack is definitely a threat, though. Scrapjacks are... Oh, shit. Shit! This is where stuff starts to get awful. Okay. So I probably got a nice Congo line, and I can tell a biomech has spawned in. I don't think minors spawn in, I think only majors spawn in here. Oh god, now I hear a witch bride. Okay, this is bad. So, yeah, now we've got to cool our jets a little bit. We need to take care of some shit. Okay, she's over there, bitchin'. So, I'm trying not to get Congo lined here. That'd be cool. So like I said, do not let witch brides stay alive. Get rid of them. Alright, she's dead. That's fine. I can tolerate this. Ooh, I almost used a Devastator shell on that. That would have been really dumb. Normally I'd use the sledge on that, but, you know, in this situation, I really don't give a shit. You need to go. There we go. I want that armor. I want armor! Okay, we'll grab that one next. I think at this point, you can see why I was saying you want to start going from one end to the other and shorten your trips. I haven't even mentioned this, but an entire 50 bullets is enough to kill a scrapjack if you don't hit their projectiles. It's a pretty effective weapon on them. Like I said, I actually really enjoy the assault rifle. I think it's a really good addition to the game. Alright, and I think that might spawn in one more witch bride, but I could be wrong. Hopefully I can just book it there and I don't have to worry too much. Oh, hello. Oh, hi, Mark. Okay. Oh, I haven't seen The Room in so long. I fucking love that movie. Fucking world! I love the entire thing. It's an experience. Okay, now I've got to get health. I can't fuck around. Okay. So we only need one more, and I'm very close to getting killed if I'm not careful. So I'm trying to... Oh, hell. This is why I'm okay with the sprint feature, because it really makes areas like this actually tolerable. If you were doing this in Serious Sam 1, you'd be dead within like 20 seconds. There's no way in hell this would allow you to do it. I'm sure someone might have made a mod, something like that, but why would you, man? That's just insane to me. I love Serious Sam first encounter and second encounter, but damn if I would want to do it, you know, like that. I wouldn't want to do this section in that engine. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. Now I just gotta find one of the last gas canisters. You can't shoot them, I don't think, either. So I think you're pretty safe. Oh, hello. Oh, hi, Mark. Ha 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 ha. If you've never seen The Room or you don't know what it is, oh, look it up. It's one of the best fucking movies ever made. I think it was free on Amazon for a while, if I'm not mistaken, because it was like a celebration of how shitty that movie actually is. It's categorically awful. It's almost the same grade of like awful as Mortal Kombat Annihilation bad. I don't know about that actually, but you know, it's pretty bad. So that's this level.
Detroit Steel, baby. Hallelujah.
All right. That's the Guardian of Time, baby. I'll see you in the next one.